Thanks for checking in. Today, we're going to be exploring the activity of looking, and we're going to focus specifically on mobilizing the core as it relates specifically to looking. This will be really helpful if you find like when you're, you have to like look over your shoulder, it feels like you really can't turn. It'll be very helpful for that. I'm excited for today's routine, so we'll just kick off with a few grounding breaths. We're then going to do something constructive. We'll do a couple measurements to see like what's our looking capacity. I know we don't think about that often, but we look at things all the time, right? And there's a whole body chain reaction that takes place. We'll do some litmus tests. We'll do something constructive. We'll circle back just to see how it worked. All right, let's get to it. So 3 deep breaths in through the nose. All right, let's get to it. Let's start with our posture scan. All right, so feet about hip width apart, arms relaxed, go eyes closed. Pay attention to the position of your shoulders. Are they rounded, neutral, or chest out? My posture feels so weird. It feels like my shoulders are turned in, but my chest it's very odd. But probably a little, I think I'm somewhere between rounded and neutral, right around there. Okay. All right, let's do it. So we need to start with some litmus tests. Make sure that wherever you stand in your room, you can get back to that point, right? So you just, because we need to compare apples to apples. So I'm just standing right in the center of my whiteboard. I'm going to look over my left shoulder 5 times. And I just want to see, what can I see clearly, right? Not peripheral. It's almost like, what can you look, dead at? So I have a studio light in the back corner of my office here. Okay, so I've got that locked in. I might have opened up just a little bit. I can see my window here. All right, now I'm gonna go the other way. Certainly more limited. And I can essentially see the camera here. All right, now let's go into the frontal plane. So just let your head fall to the left. It's okay to let your hip slide to the right. So head falls to the left, hip slide to the right. And we're looking at the ability for the spinal column to collapse, right? So how well are you bending to the left, right? And part of it can be, if you just hold that last one, a good litmus test, just see how far down did the fingers come onto the knee, right? Just remember that because we're going to recheck it later. And then we'll go the other way. Oh, oh, major limitation. I did break my neck. So here's the evidence of that. Incredible. Okay. There we go. All right, now we're going to go into the sagittal plane. So this one's a little tricky. As you tuck your chin into your chest, you're going to soften your knees and round your back. Like you want to hollow out through the midsection here. And you want to get a sense of how well do you round or bend the spine, okay? Forming the letter C, right? And so you'll look at the depth that you can get into that movement naturally. We're not forcing anything, just come out of it. And so we'll just check that. So again, chin tuck, knee soften, hollow out. Chin tuck, knee soften, hollow out. A couple more here. Okay, now let's go in the other direction. Okay, so extension. So this is going to be basically the angle that your chin is pointing out. So right now, let's just say it's pointing straight. And then from here, when we lift, oh, it is much higher than a couple of days ago. Now I'm pretty much straight up toward the ceiling, approximately. Okay, so let's, excuse me, lift. And just get a sense of how high you lift naturally. And then again, we'll check this at the end. All right. Okay. So what we want to do now is we're going to go through our looking matrix, but we're going to get our core really involved here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the rib cage with our left hand on the left side of just beneath the chest. Okay. So what's going to happen? It's going to be actually just like the litmus test. You're going to look over your left shoulder. And the other thing is have your right hand on top of your left hand. All right. So one hand's pulling and then the other one's pushing. Okay. So you could just, it's a little teamwork, a little collaboration. Right. And so as we pull, we're going to look first. Okay. The sequence is important. Look, and then just add like a gentle pull, almost think of it like a nudge, a little assist around the corner. Okay, don't force it. Just find your edge. The quickest way to expand is just to work to your edge and not beyond, not to make your move look like maybe mine right now. Okay, so let's go a couple more here. All right, close your eyes. As long as you don't get dizzy and you don't feel like you're gonna fall. Okay, we're gonna hold. Okay, now hold. You can go back to eyes open. Stay right at your threshold. Ready? And then just pulse. Pulse, nice and easy. Every time you pulse, the eyes are going a little further around the corner and you're pulling the hands back, that gentle nudge. Okay, so one hand's pulling, one hand's pushing. Nice and easy. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. And I just want you to see here what I did. I kind of moved this hand instead of pushing here. I just gave myself a little nudge right at the shoulder. Why don't you try a few of those, okay? So go back to that position on the left. Go fingertips like right on the front of the shoulder. Okay, and then the left hand's pulling at the ribs, the right hand's pushing at the shoulder, and then the eyes are initiating. Okay, those little tweaks make a huge difference, especially like if you're somebody who's a desk worker, your shoulders are rounded, you know, that would be really nice, gentle nudge just to get you to open up a bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go the other way. Right hand's going to go onto the rib cage. All right, we're going to start looking. And remember, we have one hand pulling, one hand pushing. You can go right up to the shoulder. You can keep the other hand over the rib. You know, experiment a bit. I mean, this whole movement's just kind of a process of exploration, not to follow rigid rules. All right, so you're looking over that right shoulder. Just find your edge. Don't be in a rush. You know, be present to each repetition. I just feel that I don't have as much separation here as I do on the other side naturally. Okay, let's hold the next one. Hold. Okay, now let's ready, just nice and easy. Little nudge with the fingers, pushing on the shoulder if that's where you are, pulling back with the other hand on the ribs. Just don't go past your threshold like I just did. Don't go past it. It's so tempting. It's fun breaking the rules. Come on. Couple more here. All right. And then we hold. All right. Take a breath. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay. So now we're going to change the plane of motion. We're going to grab the rib cage and we're going to do a little lift, just like so. Okay. So ready? Your left hand now is going to grab your ribs on the right. I'm hoping that you can reach across. And if you can't, we'll come up with a modification. I'll think about it. Let's do this other hand. It's going to come under. It's almost like you're cradling your rib cage. All right. So you want to just kind of be able to get like a little bit of a grip on it. Right. And so what you're going to do here is let's remember the movement first. Right. So this is the one where we let the arm just track down the leg. Nice and easy. Right. So then you just come in here. You let the head go first. And then the hand just give a little lift on the ribs. And you got to just figure out where are your hands most comfortable. Like the lower I get my hands, the more I feel like actually some stretching right through this area, which means I'm effectively lifting the ribs off of the pelvis. So just like that. Don't pass your threshold. Notice, obviously, I'm allowing my hips to slide in the opposite direction, right? So this is my natural counterbalance. You might have to keep readjusting your hands. This is a little bit laborious, but it's very powerful. All right, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the other hand. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back. Hold, ready, pulse. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and now let's go in the other direction. So we're going to go right hand holding. All right, let's go with the head first. Let the head fall to the right, and then the ribs lift. Boy, the brakes come on really quick here. You know what the primary skill, I think, when it comes to like honoring your threshold, I think part of it's awareness, but I think the other part of it is humility, just like truly meeting yourself where you're at and just recognizing like that strategy is going to serve you best. All right. I'm sorry, my little philosophy rant there. Okay, let's hold that one. Ready? We're going to pulse 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into that last plane of motion, into the sagittal plane. We're going to, remember, we want to round. We're going to tuck the chin. We're going to hollow out. We're going to soften the knees. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cross our arms across our chest, but then you're just going to reach up and over the shoulders the best that you can. Okay. It's not perfect. But what you're going to do is, again, we want to initiate now with the chin, with the eyes, with the chin, soften the knees, and then the arms just pull down. And you should get some good stretching along the spine, between the shoulder blades, nice and easy. And you're using your hands to help you hollow out, like almost as if you're trying to pull your elbows toward the center of your body. And you're pulling down and in on the shoulders. A couple more here. We don't have to force it. Okay, let's hold. All right, ready now, pulse. Easy. 8, 7, 6, 5. It's okay to let your back round. 10. Okay. Unfortunately, it'll just be a very short rabbit trail. We've been conditioned to not round our back. Okay. So like when we go to pick up things off the ground, we're keeping our back just straight as a board. Not good. Okay. There's a whole set of muscles that get stimulated with spinal flexion. Okay. That's that comes from rounding of the back. So usually when people do that, there's a lot of hesitancy, or it feels vulnerable, right? Because you haven't went there in a long time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to finish with extension. So you're going to just grab your ribs here. Actually, you can give yourself a little hug. This would be even probably a little more effective. So if you just reach one hand over, just like that. All right. And then what you're going to do is, let's go back to the hands, just on the ribs, just like we did at the start. Okay. I got crafty at the end there. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the chin, right? Let the eyes and the chin lead. And then the hands are just giving a little push up right side, right to the front of the ribs. Okay. A couple more here. The sequence is important on this one. If you get the timing just right, you're going to feel a really nice abdomen stretch. Okay. Let's hold the next one. And by the way, real quick, when you lift up here, let your hips slide forward. I didn't mention that, okay? But allow that counterbalance to occur, all right? So ready, watch, we're gonna go. Okay, now it's a little, you can go a little wider if you'd like with your feet so you don't feel like you're gonna fall. But if you can let the ribs slide as the hands are lifting the ribs, as the eyes are looking, you're gonna get really good extension of the spine, okay? And then that turns on our abdomen and our groin and all the muscles in the front that protect us. Okay, so ready? Let's go hold, and we're going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So let's go back to our litmus test. Actually, surprise, spoiler alert, we're going to be going through a little specialty edition. So we're going to get to our litmus test, but you're going to have to wait about 10 more minutes, okay? If you've got the time, let's do it. And if you don't, I want to do this today because I thought it'd be interesting. There's this idea of having open chain movements and closed chain. Okay, you're going to know what that means by the time we get to this end of this sequence, because we're going to do all the same movements, but we're going to close the chain. And I want you to actually see that it's actually more powerful, okay? But I like to share both because it's experiential learning and you'll learn your body way better. So we already have our litmus test. I think to be fair to ourselves, right? We just put forth some effort. Is let's just do a quick check, all right? So just get back to wherever you were. We'll just do one repetition in each direction. Let's see if we sense any progress. First, just go to the left, one repetition. Yep. So I was window and now I'm picture in the room. To my left. Before I was screen, you could see I'm going much further. Now I'm aligned with my door. Okay. And then let's let the body collapse. This is a much more efficient collapse. I'm actually now below my knee. All right. That's without forcing it. That's the nice thing about not forcing this, because then you never have to force it. Okay. And then this one, I wasn't even able to touch my knee. And now I'm getting to the bottom of my knee. Okay. So that's good. And then now let's do our hollowed out. And this is just like, I just feel like I'm going way, 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 way deeper into that movement. Okay. And now let's do the chin lift. Yeah. And I get lengthening all the way down to the rim of my pelvis. That's right where my abdomen attaches. Okay. So things are certainly loosening up. You know, a good thing is when you feel a tissue lengthening, you know that the joint's moving. So that's the good news. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip over to closed chain. All right. We're going to go with the rotation first. Okay. So as you know, we started by going with left rotation. So what we're going to do is you're going to stand next to a wall. You're going to get both hands. You're going to twist to your left, right? And then you're going to land somewhere. You're going to touch the wall. And then if you can, you just want to see, do you have any more capacity to separate your feet from your hands? So with your hands fixed, how far can you walk your feet around the corner to the right? Right? Find that maximum separation point without forcing it, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a driver with our eyes. Okay, so we're going to look over our right shoulder. Nine. Okay, let's hold. I want you to add in a little baby squat, just a little bit, a little tiny squat. All right, and then let's pulse. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in the other direction. So you can actually just go hands on the wall, right? And then you're going to walk your feet in the other direction and just see, where does your body start to naturally resist that movement? Okay. So for me, it's here, right? And now from here, I'm just going to look over my left shoulder. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I think this is pretty cool. I'm going to hold this for just a sec. I'm looking over my left shoulder, but my thoracic spine, my core, is going through right rotation. Because think about it, my hands are fixed. My eyes kept going, so my shoulders kind of hung back. We actually need, in order to look over our left shoulder, we need good thoracic rotation to the right, relatively speaking. I thought it's pretty cool. Okay, so now we're going to go into the next plane of motion. And what you're going to do is essentially you're going to get your arm on a wall, all right? And you're just going to be leaning against it. And we're going to let the hips slide. So let's see if I can demo this. So I'm going to start on my left side. So basically with my arm fixed, I'm going to let my hips slide toward the wall, just like that, okay? So ready? Let's get the arm fixed. The most important thing from the setup is to make sure that your shoulder is directly behind your elbow, okay? So you want to be stacked or structured with the movement. And then from here, what you're going to do is just watch, you're going to let the hips slide toward the wall. And you'll notice immediately how much more productive this is than when you're trying to lift with your hands, right? A couple more here. 9, one more. You got to figure out the spacing with the feet. Let's pulse, like the distance between the feet and the wall. Good abdominal exercise too, like good core exercise. But what I would think about here is we're creating the motion of spinal flexion to the right. There's going to be all sorts of muscles that fire to control that movement, but that's the motion we're after, okay? So we had our left arm fixed, bending to the right, so the spine is collapsing to the right. That's the motion. If we stay focused on motion, we can make this way more objective and then actually know if our efforts are serving us. So let's go with the right arm. You're gonna get that right shoulder stacked on top of or behind the elbow, however you want to look at it. All right, figure out your spacing between your feet and the wall, and then just let the hips slide. Right, and it might not feel like the other side. It's okay. Just meet yourself where you're at. It'd be ideal if you could hold on to something with the other hand, like you might be able to reach over and touch the board or like your wall, right? Because that extra point of stability will allow you to explore more with the hip slide. 9 and 10. Hold and pulse. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, interestingly, I didn't feel near the amount of muscle contraction on this side or the fatigue because the joint wasn't moving, so the muscles weren't firing. I wasn't getting fatigued. There was less work occurring. Okay, so great way to be able to assess your threshold because more things are steady, and then we can actually determine what's happening at the joint. Okay, so in the last one now, we want to go into our sagittal plane. So we're going to go, ready? So what? You just got to play with me here. Okay, you're going to go like this. So you could turn your palms forward. Okay, watch. Now it's kind of similar to what we just did before. It was a chin tuck. It was a knee softening, right? Chin tuck, knee soften. Chin tuck, knee soften. Just like that. Okay, now you want to do the chin tuck, knee soften right near a wall. Okay, so I'm in this position now. I'm going to come back. I'm going to touch the wall with my elbows. Now, you could let your arms hang once you're there and let your hands touch the wall. So what you're going to do here is you're just going to do a little squat down, and you're being supported. So you want your feet away from the wall. You want to be leaning back into your elbows. Okay, you need to stabilize yourself. And then once you have really good pressure, like it's like as if I would fall back through the wall. So I just want you to understand, like, there's some good force being pushed back naturally because my feet have went so far away. And then from here, it's going to drop down. Okay, now I'm being supported. My feet are pushing my elbows into the wall. I feel very stable. All right, and now you can see this motion just happens for free, right? Gravity's doing it. Couple more here. One more. Okay, all right. I need to give that a quick break. You probably do too. And then we're going to go back to our pulsing, okay? So ready? Well, let's get the elbows lifted. Let's walk the feet out, right? And nice and easy. 10, 9, 8, 7. You don't have to force it. 6. Keep focused on the pressure through the feet and the elbows. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. There we have it. So now we need to go into extension, all right? So what we're going to do is, obviously the goal is to lift up. So we want to just get the hands up on the wall. So the way I like to do this, because sometimes people have a hard time getting their hands overhead, you can kind of walk the hands up, and then you want to just get a sense, okay? Because the arms are going to stay straight locked like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to allow your pelvis to slide forward just like this. All right. Now you'll notice I am coming a little bit off my heels. Totally fine. Okay, actually I want that because that allows the pelvis to tilt forward and then the abdominals lengthen. And remember, whatever's lengthening is strengthening. So now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to do everything the same. We're going to let the hips slide. We're going to let the heels lift, and we're going to lift the chin. So lift the chin, lift the chin. Get the chin to lift, and everything else just happens naturally. Get the chin to lift. You'll notice when the chin lifts, the hips slide forward, and they'll slide forward to the degree that they feel they can control the movement. Okay, and then you'll notice if the chin lifts, the hips slide forward, the heels come off the ground. And you should feel the muscles on the front side of your body working, straining to control the movement. I've got the shakes for sure. Let's go one more here. We'll hold at threshold. All right, ready? Pulse, gentle pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Now, I can immediately feel that I'm in a very different body than where I was when I started. But that's because we closed the chain. We took something that previously was moving, and then we just fixed it. All right. And the more points of stability that we have, the more mobility our body will explore. Okay, here's actually, this is kind of a little bit of a new insight or Mikeism. Stability expresses itself through mobility. Stability expresses itself through mobility. So if a joint only moves to X degree, it's because it's only stable up until that point, right? If we lost range of motion, we've just lost the stability needed to explore the full range. So stability expresses itself as mobility. So a good way to think about range of motion is just stable or controlled range of motion. That's what we want. We don't want to restore range of motion. We want to restore controlled range of motion. And that's how mobility sticks, is when it's stable. Okay, so now let's go back to our litmus tests. All right, we'll go over that left shoulder. I obviously don't know what you're experiencing, but I can now see this, my other window, past the picture without forcing it. A couple more here. Okay, that feels really good. Okay, let's go to the right. Remember this earlier, I was only able to turn toward the camera. Okay, now I can see a picture of my room right here on my other opposite side wall. Okay. All right, let's go to the lateral bend. All right, so you're gonna let your head fall to the left, hip slide to the right, and just kind of get a sense, how far do the arms slide down the side? Just like that. All right, you can hold that last one, just get a quick check. All right, I'm at the bottom of the knee now, which is really nice. Okay, let's go the other way. I had nothing here at the start. I couldn't move at all. Okay, so one more here. All right, and then let's go. Ready? We're going to tuck. We're going to tuck the chin, soften the knees, hollow out. Tuck the chin, soften the knees. You know what? I don't feel like I'm going so much deeper than the last time, but what feels incredibly different is this entire range of motion feels very controlled and safe. Before, I felt vulnerable going into this position. I felt some sensitivity here. Obviously, I didn't go past it. I was honoring my threshold, but I sensed that there. I don't feel that at all now. So it's not always about the range. Again, it's about the controlled range. Okay, so now the last one here, we're going to lift the chin. So lift up, just like so. Lift. And one more here. That's it. All right, so posture scan. Feet neutral, rounded neutral, chest out. I'm super chest out now. That felt real good. Let's finish with our 3 breaths. So one for mind. One for body. And one for our human spirit. Okay, so looking forward to tomorrow. We're going to obviously continue the looking theme, but we're going to be diving into the neck. I mean, obviously, this is probably the area that most people are going to get, I think, a really significant difference in, because a lot of times our limitations with looking do come from the neck, but they could just as well be down at the feet. So, but look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging with me for a little longer, and I'll be seeing you soon. Cheers.